Here's a news story today that you may think you already know. Russia sponsors cyber attacks. These attacks can reach all the way to your small businesses, even to your home. What does YouTube know about your kids, especially young children? And the Supreme Court hears a case today that could reverse 50 years of federal law and make online shopping cost a whole lot more. All of that with your tech news today for Tuesday, April the 17th, and brought to you by HelloFresh. Gourmet recipes that you prepare in your own kitchen, and many times you can do this in 30 minutes or less. Great recipes your family will love, farm fresh and precisely measured ingredients, delivered straight to your home. HelloFresh.com/Kim. There's a new warning out today from the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and British intelligence. Russians are plotting a global cyber attack. Hackers could go after literally everything, all the way down to the router in your home. And our government says this warning should be taken seriously by every person and every business. Here's what's going on. Hackers, backed by the Russian government, are using compromised routers to spy and possibly lay groundwork for a future and massive cyber attack. Millions of machines and devices are all vulnerable because of sloppy security from the manufacturer. And all these devices, including your computer, could be used for spying. The government officials say this threat is huge and it's very complex. But there is a solution, and it could be as simple as changing the default password with your home router or anything that's connected to the internet. Check to see if the default password is the password you're using and change it. Use passwords that are considered to be strong. They should have at least one number, a symbol, capital and lowercase letters, and one that even your family would have a hard time just randomly guessing. Now, this cyber hack is probably not going to happen within the next 24 hours or even the next 2 weeks. But when it could happen, it could paralyze a good part of the world for days. And speaking of collecting data, thousands of apps designed for the Android operating system could very well be collecting information on your children younger than the age of 13, which violates something called COPPA. That's the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. It was passed in 1998 to safeguard the privacy of those, especially those under 13, using the internet to collect data on children younger than the age of 13. A company has to get parental consent, which most parents aren't going to do. This law is supposedly enforced by the Federal Trade Commission. Researchers at the International Computer Science Institute looked at nearly 6,000 free Android apps, all targeted at young kids. The institute claims that more than half of these apps violate this federal law. Researchers say that many of these apps share the location or personal contact information to reach the children, of course, without parental consent. Eventually, it all comes back to parents. You need to know what your children are doing online, and you need to know what kind of apps they have in their smartphones and computers. And finally today, in Washington, the Supreme Court. Now, we all know there are 3 major reasons to shop online. Of course, you get unparalleled convenience, there are endless choices, and usually the prices are lower. Because if you're buying out of state, and when you shop online, most of the time you are, there are no sales taxes. But the United States Supreme Court will hear a case today that could wipe away the sales tax advantage, and with it, 50 years of past court rulings. To understand what's really happening here, we have to flash back to the year 1967 and a Supreme Court ruling that said that states, the individual 50 states, could not force mail-order companies to collect their sales taxes unless the buyer actually lived in the state where the company had a retail store, a corporate office, or a distribution center. Now, without knowing this, the court actually set the stage for the coming world of online commerce. Now, 2 years ago, the state of South Dakota took a good hard long look at the amount of money being spent online and decided the time is right to challenge the old court ruling because, in South Dakota's opinion, an online presence is just as good as having a retail store in the buyer's neighborhood. Now, even if you don't closely follow Supreme Court cases, this is one to watch. Billions of dollars hang in the balance, and depending on the court ruling, that's money that will come from you and me. The arguments being heard today. Look for the ruling in June. And that's your tech news today, brought to you by HelloFresh.com/Kim, where you get $30 off your first order. Just visit HelloFresh.com and get started today. Gourmet meals that you cook in your own kitchen in 30 minutes or less. And delivery is free. HelloFresh.com/Kim.